Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Michael Tran, and thank you so much for tuning in to a new episode of Pondering Playlists, where we interview people and review some music. I am here with my friend Mason Chow. Would you feel free to introduce yourself to our audience?
Hey, I'm Mason Chow. I'm a computer science cybersecurity major at the University of Tulsa and a student of music anywhere I can be a student of music. The story of how I got into music is kind of interesting, so I'm going to start there just because it gives context. I started off when I was really short, like 2.5 feet, 3 feet tall, on violin. Every other person who looks like me or they look like they could be related to me also did either violin or piano or both, and I did both, and I hated piano, and I didn't practice for that because I refused to, which I now regret, but I sang in church, or we were forced to sing in front of the whole church when we were kids, and I hated it. It was a horrible experience. That was how I started. I was like, music is a waste of time. It's horrible. Artists are non-intelligent people who can't do it in STEM, and therefore they have to do fake things. And then I started actually listening to music in high school. I don't remember why. Maybe because my cousin was really into it, and I was like, well, Levi's not stupid, so what is up with that? So then I started realizing, like, oh, it does have merit. It's interesting. Creative expression is not just something that people need to do. It's something that is interesting and is purposeful. Being an musician was an interesting idea to me, and because I played violin for so long, it was easy for me to pick up things. But it wasn't really until college where I was like, whoa, being a musician is really fun and engaging and something I can do now. So I want to really experience as much as I can, build myself up as much as I can, and like shoot for everything, not just the stars. Now I'll play anything to get my hands on. I had like 9 instruments I played: violin, bass, guitar, which I'm okay at now. Got an accordion and played that for a couple months, and to not a ton of success, but it's fun. I got a theremin. That is hard. I need to go back to it. That's awesome though. I play a handful. Long story short.
That's really impressive. I didn't realize you played, like, the theremin and the accordion.
I dabble in those too. I want to start playing the theremin, though. I need to get back out.
Now, that always looked interesting.
Yeah. I identified as a musician because it's something I did for an hour of every weekday, but it wasn't something that I really invested any time in. I was like, I don't want to practice. I have better things to do, like sit on my phone and play video games, things that are really good for my future career trajectory. But
literally.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to pirate movies on my school's Chromebook since I have no stake in its security. Then in college, I was in orchestra, and then one of the upperclassmen who I had like just met ran into me and was like, we want a jazz violinist, join our combo, please, please, please. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. So I played in the jazz ensemble. Instructor was like, I don't care that you never played jazz before, take a solo on this tune. I was like completely lost, but then I tried something and I was like, that wasn't bad. That sounded pretty good, especially since you've never played a solo before. And I was like, what I realized is the thing I liked about creativity and music in general is that you put everything into it and you hope it works. And using every aspect of myself is something I really like. I like pushing my boundaries and trying to see if I can do more. Because of that, I started trying. I was actually giving a shit.
How many bands have you been in total?
Bands, 4-ish.
Dang.
But I'm in, I started out doing orchestra, and then I joined some jazz ensembles. So if you count the ensembles, then more. But actual, ensembles where we have a name and we go places, 4, I think. And a bunch of other projects that never got off the ground. The music was pretty different from group to group, which is something I like a lot because I like exploring. I like figuring out how I mesh with other people. So being able to express different things with different groups of people was fun. I would say 2 of them sounded very similar. They were both swing jazz, gypsy jazz, and then the other ones are pretty different, I would say.
Is jazz the main genre of the bands that you would do?
Kind of. I started playing electric bass in high school because me and my cousin were going to form a punk rock band called Ye Ain't Saints, but then that one hasn't taken off yet. I'm holding out hope.
Ye Ain't Saints?
Ye Ain't Saints. Well, y'all ain't saints.
Oh, Ye Ain't
so
Saints.
Y double apostrophe ain't, and then another apostrophe between the N and T just for fun, so it looks like little horns. And
Wait,
then
that's
Saints.
dope.
Yeah.
You ain't Saints 2025.
A lot of the ones that I'm in right now have jazz influence or jazz fusion because I play with a lot of jazz musicians. We know each other, and if you're competent at jazz, you're probably a competent musician, so it's just easy to start different groups. The first project I was involved in where I thought of myself as like a musician and not like part of a group was the TU Jazz Combo. We have a lot of really talented musicians, but in jazz, with the Jazz Combo, I was making stuff up on the spot. I was pulling from everything, and I was seemingly getting good responses from that. So I would say that's the first one that actually took off, because like we had a show that people came to, and then my professor, Dean Demerit, wonderful man that he is, was like, you have an interesting sound. Are you free this Thursday night? I have a gig with Cole Cribs. You should play with us down at Foolish Things Bar and Biscuit, which used to be on Peoria, but sadly no longer exists. I was able to get kind of gigging experience as a freelance musician that he did pay me for. So I would say that was the first one that kind of took off. The first band that I've been a part of where we like played around at places and got paid for it, and we did shows, was Casanova. The first time I was ever in a bar was because of Casanova, because we were playing in bars, and I was legally allowed to be in that space. I want to know. That one broke up, but that's because one guy moved to Texas to pursue his master's in psychology, and another guy moved to Seattle because his girlfriend lives there.
After Casanova, what was the next band that you were a part of?
I started getting involved with like a stylistically we were a swing jazz band. They played at the coffee house on Cherry Street for tips, and that was really fun because it was a different style of music than I was used to, and it was a different group of people that I was used to, because these aren't people I go to school with. These are like adults who have actual lives. They found me through my old violin teacher because they were looking for violinists. They were called French Roast, and then before we really started taking gigs anywhere else, French Roast kind of stopped playing together, but then the guitarist from French Roast started a new band called Giton Solitaire, where we played like more gypsy jazz music, which is a genre with a lot of history. I'm not just saying bad things about Romani people. Gypsy jazz is a genre. That's one of the ones I'm actively in right now. And then me, my friend Sam, and another of our friends, Velasco, we had kind of a trio thing going on where we jam a lot, and then Velasco graduated early and moved to another city to pursue a meaningful career as a software engineer. Sam and I are still here, so we started trying to find other people to work with. So then I met a vocalist named Kat, who is a phenomenal vocalist and lyricist, and then I met Pete Chester here at TU. And now we're in a group and we're building up repertoire to start booking shows with. We've been trying to figure out a name for like a year, because Sam and I are really indecisive people, and unfortunately to choose a name you want all four people to agree. Our top two names right now are Hot Mess, which has not been taken by an artist on Spotify who has more than 2,000 Spotify listeners. Then Cat and the Grumbos, which is what that Sam and I really like. We've been on break because we have been able to meet up. Sam, Pete, and I still play, but Kat's not been with us. So I realized that we suffer from kind of like an indecision problem, because all of us are very competent musicians and we can play a lot of different things. But because we play a lot of different things and because we can't decide on a name, it's hard for us to find a direction. So it's hard for us to like figure out what we want to do.
Would you say that your music career is something that you would want to be your like main career, or is that like you want to balance that alongside whatever career you go into with your cybersecurity/CS degree?
Yes, 100%. I mean, I have a lot of interest. I'm like a chemically induced dopamine addicted rat. If something interests me, it interests me, and a lot of things interest me. I love learning and I love doing things. I came into college with like 6 majors and I had to choose one. Computer science was only a means to an end. Like ultimately I want to be creative. I want to be creative for a living and be able to have the standard of living that I want. And sometimes those two things can conflict. I'll always make things ultimately. And so if I can make things for a living, I'd love to do that.
What are you worried about for your future as a musician, or excited about even?
I'm worried about a lot of things, and I'm excited about a lot of things, and honestly, I don't know where I'll be in like 5 years or like in the future. One thing I want to do is I want to start recording so I can have a record of where I am now and who I'm with now, because the people I'm with now matter a lot to me. One thing I'm working on and one thing I'm excited about is letting go of my anxiety and being able to present who I am now as who I am, because it's okay that I'm going to change in the future, and it's okay that who I am now isn't perfect. Who I am now is still, I'd like to believe, a compelling and interesting person that provides perspective and musical set that is interesting, compelling. I want to be able to record that and then be able to be shared with a lot of people. If it blows up and I can do music full time, then I'd love to, because music is an evolving thing, and that'll enable me to reach even new highs and create things that I hope will positively impact a lot of people. Music positively impacted me, and it's helped me meet so many wonderful, lovely people. A lot of my closest friends are musicians that I wouldn't have met if I wasn't involved in the scene. And it's just it helped me out through a lot of hard times in high school and college. Being able to express myself, just in general, but through artistry, has helped me so much in processing and developing a perspective to get over a lot of that, a lot of the factors that were feeding into that. And hearing other people's art where they were struggling with similar things to me also helped. So if I'm able to do that for other people, that would be wonderful.
I love that. I love that motivation behind your music. So thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for coming in and talking with me.
Mm-hmm. Happy to be here.
Thank you. If you've made it this far into the episode, we want to say thank you so much for sticking around and listening to Pondering Playlists. We hope you enjoyed listening to us talk as much as we enjoyed talking to each other, and we hope to see you on the next episode.